Joining the team was Tony Award-winning Broadway costume designer Anne Hould-Ward. Anne's challenge was to create costumes that were not only visually stunning and complementary to the story, but costumes that allowed fluidity of movement for some very limber actors.
The body, the way it moves, even the way an actor thinks is part of what you, as part of the visual support team for them, tries to relate to and tries to interpret all the way through the process.
Turning actor Terrence Mann into the Beast was the job of hair designer David H. Lawrence and prosthetics expert John Dodds.
We couldn't get an actual Beast, but we got as close as possible of Terrence Mann. Very little makeup will be needed.
John Dodds has done makeup for the movies as well as the theater, including Ghostbusters 3 and Poltergeist 3.
So far it's been taking about 2 hours, but that will get shorter. It'll probably get down to as short as a half an hour when we have time to work it out and practice doing it. Terry's holding up very well so far, so hopefully that will continue to be true, but he's being asked to put up with more in terms of discomfort than I know of any other actor in theater having to put up with.
Everyone knows a beast has to have sharp teeth.
No dentures.
But how does a stage performer sing with a mouthful of fangs?
The teeth are on the outside of the mouth, and this will work in the theater where you're not so close that you can tell the difference.
Right.
The Beast is a furry beast, so David Lawrence had to blanket John Dodds' prosthetics with hair.
We're applying the hair that makes the beast come to life in a way. What you're saying right now is trying to create the reality of what a human being what would happen to them if they turned into an animal.
A bodysuit was created to give the Beast a fearsome physique.
Schwarzenegger, eat your heart out.
Building a Beast was a cinch compared to the ambitions the creative team had for the enchanted objects. The effects technicians decided to use a combination of electromechanical devices and what they call pyro, short for pyrotechnics, fire and smoke effects. For example, Lumiere had to juggle real flames, Cogsworth had to have a clock in the middle of his chest, and Mrs. Potts had to be able to pour a cup of steaming tea from her arm. All of this magic had to be conjured up for every performance, night after night, in front of a live audience.
The main problem is that we're dealing with moving, living, breathing actors here, and we're trying to attach hardcore electronics, mechanics, servos to actors that don't want to be powered up.
Can I help it if I'm tense?
This is Lumiere in his advanced stage. He has to be made out of special fireproof or fire retardant materials, as a real flame is going to be coming out of his head and his hands.
It's a nightmare just trying to keep up with what effects go to what costume, what act, what stage the character is at, which pyro system. It's wild.
The audience gets their first taste of the special effects in the opening moments of the show. An old beggar turns into an enchantress who flies through the air, hurls a fireball at a handsome prince who is transformed into the Beast, all in front of an astounded audience. To achieve this effect, Sarah Solie Shannon not only had to hang by wires 20 feet above the stage, but had to learn how to ignite and throw a flash powder fireball.
A ton of illusions. There's sets that are flying in all directions. There's screams that you have to either see through and then not see through, and just, I can't imagine.
Maybe they should sell tickets to this show. This is what it's like to be behind the scenes during a Broadway production. On stage, Beauty and the Beast is filled with dazzling costumes and special effects, but backstage, the scenic crew is pulling off some amazing feats themselves.
The other day, when we had a presentation of a model of the sets and drawings of the costumes, by the time we got to the intermission, I thought, how much are they going to charge to see the second half of this thing? Because you really, it's monumental.
Most of the physical production of Beauty and the Beast was designed and built at ECTS, a renowned scenic design facility in New York.
In this area of the shop, the stage, the actual stage that the show will take place on, is being fabricated. It's a custom-built piece. There's deck tracks fabricated into the deck. The scenic elements and pieces move on and off in those tracks. They're computer controlled. There's rigging devices built right into the deck.
Each queue averages probably about a dozen, 2 dozen. Maybe they'll have 40 pieces moving at once.
In addition to 40 computer-controlled set pieces and several dozen custom-built special effects, there are hundreds of lighting cues that have to happen at just the right moment.
There are now 55 moving lights on Beauty and the Beast, which is a lot. I think it's more than any other Broadway show has had at this point. A computer runs everything. Every time a strobe is set off, every time a fan blows, every time anything happens, it all comes through the computer.
Perhaps the most amazing show-stopping effect of all is the transformation scene when the Beast is changed back into a man. It happens live, right before your eyes.
The Beast transformation, the Enchantress transformation have all been designed not only with a scenic designer and with a choreographer and a director, but also we've had an illusionist in to really design those elements.